Radical.
Welcome to Radical Rick Stories. Not flea market stories, Radical Rick Stories. Documenting my journey through life. Honestly, I gotta work on this one. I've kind of done this before, but I didn't actually have a title on it. I would just actually sometimes share my life stories. Do I need to turn down the heavy metal in the background? I'll turn that down just a smidgen. Give me a moment. That's a band called Drown from the early 90s. I'm testing a music CD. I don't know. It's okay. They're okay. Apparently they toured with Rob Zombie. Any of you ever heard of Drown? Okay, so this is Radical Rick Stories. And honestly, I'm just doing this because I have some other uploads planned for a day or two. Definitely going to do another Radical Rapid Fire comment response, but I have a couple other that are planned. I just really don't have the time to do anything really substantial. So I just picked up the recorder and I'm just recording. I'm going to share a story with you that happened about 2 hours ago. Okay, so I was going to Walmart as I often do. And this is after going to get some chicken that was fucking nasty at a place. I mean, I'm just giving up on my quest to find the perfect chicken strip because it's not going to happen. These places, they just don't seem to fucking care, man. And it aggravates me when I get chicken that's super oily and undercooked, right? And I went back to this place before. Well, this is not a story, by the way. I mean, I was just saying. I went back to this place before, and then they give me the same kind of garbage chicken. So I'm just going to have to resort to a bagged frozen chicken and getting good with my Ninja air fryer. So I was a little aggravated because of that. So I went in there, and I was picking up a couple things, some snacks, some food, and I forgot to get, after this incident, well, I'm not going to say it's an incident, but I forgot to go, because it broke my focus from getting the main thing I went in there for, which was not snacks. It was actually some more car wax for my JFJ Easy Pro machine. So, yeah, aggravated because of that, because now I'm out of car wax and I can't buff out the CDs. Went through, I got a couple things, and I was swinging around the corner right after I got my milk, lactose-free milk, that is. Went around the corner, and there was this woman, very young woman, I want to say like early 20s, pushing a buggy with her kid in the buggy, and the kid was no more than like a year old, I would say. I haven't been around like a lot of kids, so I can't gauge the exact age, but I would say no more than 1 year old. And this was not an American-born person. This was not a Hispanic, not an Asian. I want to say maybe Middle Eastern. I'm not sure. I am sure that I only caught like maybe 1 out of the 10 words. So it's a situation where I was thinking, by the way, what she did was she kind of like flagged me down when I was walking around her. And first I thought, okay, do I know her? I looked at her. I didn't know her. And then I thought, well, she's probably going to try to ask me where something is in the store. You know, maybe she's new to the place. Maybe she's new to America. Maybe she assumes that everybody wearing like a polo shirt works at the store. But I guess she just needed some help. She said I needed some help. And I was like, okay, I'm eager to help. I'm a helpful person. So I'm going to help her find whatever groceries she's looking for. But then I realized she's not really looking for groceries. It feels like she's going into well, now I mentioned I couldn't, only 1 out of 10 words I made out. So I didn't get everything she was saying, but I know enough to know when I see a beggar. I know enough to know when I see a beggar, and she ended after she talked for maybe a minute by, please, sir, please, I ask for help. Please, my kid, my baby here. My baby needs food. I ask for help. And that's not exactly how she sounded. I mean, I just can't replicate exactly how she sounded. So, knowing me, of course, I yelled at her, "Get away from me, you fucking beggar!" No, I didn't yell at her. I'm not that. But I don't like beggars. You know this. You've been on the channel for a while. Especially e-beggars. Don't care for them. But, what runs through my mind whenever something like this happens, and thankfully it doesn't happen to me a lot, other than maybe somebody outside of a store, maybe rattling a can for some money. Whenever it happens, I usually just disregard. I walk by, unless they press or try to follow me around, and then I let them know, like, no, you ain't getting no money from me. I wasn't mean. I wasn't rude. Um, and sometimes you really can't tell if it's like passionate and they're just passionately, they mean it, and it's not a sales pitch or not a sales pitch, but e-begging, not e-begging even. I'm so used to talking about e-beggars. Or it's not a begging pitch. And honestly, 50-50 on it. 50-50. Like, half of me says this person actually could be in need and they had the kid there with them. But also the other half of me says, well, damn, this is a great con. If it's a young mother and a kid in the buggy with them, that's a great way to just get money from people randomly. So that's in the back of my mind, right? I didn't even like focus on what she was wearing to think, well, do I see anything expensive? Maybe an expensive ring or watch or something like that. Does she look like she has no money sometimes? Is she wearing designer shoes? That's something you should, check out if you have a situation to where any of you are shopping at a Walmart and you're approached by somebody with this beggar pitch, right? So it didn't work. I did not give her a red cent. I wasn't mean. I wasn't rude. What did I say exactly? I think I said something along the lines of, well, I got to pay rent today. I said, I got to pay rent today. It's the only thing I could think of. Got to pay rent. And, yeah, I think I just said that. But then I switched to niceness, and I said, well, I wish you well, and I hope things get better for you. And then after that, I just pushed my buggy on. So that's the end of actually what happened, because I was worried that in the middle of my shopping, I would see her again. And then she would see me adding things and adding things. Because see, if you're shopping and you're adding things to a cart and somebody is asking for money, it's kind of awkward if, you're adding all these snacks and you go, I don't have any money. Which is the easiest thing to say to somebody because, you say, well, I'm in that boat with you, pal or lady. I have no money. But if you're adding all these snacks and things, it's not going to ring true. So, I usually don't say that specifically, but I did say well, yeah, I got to pay rent, so what you going to do, right? It's rent time. What you going to do? She didn't retort, yes, I don't have money. I have to pay rent too. And I need money. I wasn't rude. I didn't say things like, well, you could have kept whoever it was out of you. You could have told them to put on a rubber. You ever think about that? You could have not had a kid. You ever think about that? Right? They cost a lot of money. Have you seen the price of diapers? Yeah, they cost a shit ton of money. Just to keep them from shitting on the floor. Cost a ton of money. A lot of people don't think before they procreate because if you don't wear protection, guess what? Wah, wah. 9 months later. So a Radical Rick tip to all of you out there, fornicating, you dirty fornicators, is to wrap it up. Wrap it up if you can't afford a kid. Don't have a kid if you can't afford a kid. But I didn't say that. I just was on my way. I didn't want to have any more of a conversation with her. She was not bad looking. If she was not with the kid, I might say well, what's in it for me? What's your rates? Do you expect me? I don't give money for non-services. I exchange money for goods or services, lady. What are you going to offer me? What's my buying power? Radical Rick is pro-prostitution. It's the oldest profession, What's wrong with it, Oh, let's crack down on drugs. Crack down on drugs, okay. There's a point I could make there about how people get really crazy about drugs, prostitution, and everything. But yeah, hardworking women of the night. Yeah, I lost my track. I lost my train. I lost my track of thought. I lost everything. So, anyways, I thankfully didn't see her again. And this is a point where I realize, if I'm thinking she might actually be in dire straits. She might be in trouble. I didn't rush back to give her money, but I think about how I wasn't always like this, but I have such a lack of sympathy for my fellow man. And I don't know if that's something that I need to change or correct. I just don't have a lot of sympathy for other people. And it made me kind of feel bad for a second, like, well, damn, man, why don't you care about your fellow man? Sometimes I don't care about but myself and my family and my friends. But then after that, I thought to myself, like, well, shit, everybody in this world has to take care of themselves. You come into this world alone and you leave this world alone. That's the thought I kept thinking about. You know me, if you followed me for years and years. I pull myself up by my own bootstraps, and I don't request help from anybody. I'm very self-sufficient. And I think that's part of it is I'm self-sufficient, so I, in turn, expect other people to be. Maybe that's not fair. Maybe she just did it down on her luck and just needs a couple bucks. And but I figure, nah, not for me. Not for me. What am I going to? The last thing I'll say is, I went to get a flat screen TV. And I crack a smile. Is it wrong I crack a smile? And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so messed up. See, she asked me for help, and I said, oh, I don't have any money, it's rent time. And here I am buying a flat screen TV. Man, am I in such a great position in life? I'm in a good position in life. I'm doing a lot better than other people. And I should be happier about that. I shouldn't be down in the dumps and obsessing over things at my flea market store and all the mistakes that I've made. Because ultimately, I've done good for myself. Because right now, in this shit economy, when people, if I'm to believe her, don't have any money, I have money. I can just go and buy a flat screen TV for a store that I have. That's good. That's good. I thought, oh man, I got to get out of the store with this TV. Because what happens if I get her eyes on me and her poor, sweet, sweet, innocent child both looking at me and the flat screen TV hanging out of my buggy? She would, I wouldn't mind if she flipped me off then, because obviously she's seen that I'm a liar. But then what would I say to her? You see, I have bad luck. I have to pay rent and lightning ran into my TV. Psh, crazy, right? I mean, honestly, considering everything, like, if your TV works at home, lady, you're doing better than I am.